Let's go ahead and begin. Appreciate you guys all being here today. A little piece of news is that we will not have the Millionaire Mastermind today nor next Monday. We're kind of saving some things up as far as my schedule. I'm sure it is for some of you guys as well. It's a bit challenging being out of pocket for a full week, which will be the week of the event, which again, we're going to see all of you guys in 15 days. So excited to spend some time with you guys in Los Cabos. It's going to be the most fantastic, amazing event we've ever put on. I'm excited to have you be a part of it and really grow and expand your horizons of what's possible and really work on your mindset. So excited about that. We will not have the Millionaire Mastermind again this week or next week. Wanted to also say happy Thanksgiving, which I know some of you guys have already checked out, which is why we have 74 people on here live versus the normal 100. I think we have people that decided to take a full week and a half vacation. We saw some of our partners do the same thing, which is amazing to me. But again, that's your choice. Whether you want to gain market share, or whether you want to be average, whether you want to be somebody who takes off from Thanksgiving all the way till end of the year, and that's your option, unless you want to be a rock star and gain the extra, taking the holidays out of it, and still have 5 full weeks of activity, taking out the Thanksgiving, maybe the day before Thanksgiving, maybe the day after Thanksgiving. So those are 3 days there. Maybe taking out in consideration Christmas Day, taking consideration New Year's Day. Which will still give you 6 full weeks between now and end of the year, unless you just want to check out. So today, what I wanted to cover is a couple of things. I've got an exciting announcement for those of you who are not able to attend Top Gun, and a way for you guys to participate in the fun and festivities, at least a portion of it. It's not going to be the same as if you were there. And of course, we can't do the whole thing when we're talking about a 14-hour day, but we're going to show you a way that you can participate in the event if you decide to. So first, what I wanted to do is chat a bit. We had an IC that had been here for right at 2 years, actually it was 2 years and 2 months, who left the organization last week. And this happened just to get me to think about digging in a little bit. And so this IC, the reason they said they were leaving is they just didn't get the level of response they expected to get. They didn't get the, for 2 years, that is a long time. Of course, some of you guys have been here for 5 or 6, even 7 years. 2 years is a good chunk. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you haven't had the results that you expected. Let's go ahead and look at your activity. And so I happen to log into the system. Let me share with you this person's numbers. So I'm going back 12 months, okay? And I happen to talk to this IC personally. It was a fun conversation. So in 12 months, this IC sent out 83 emails. Let me let that sink in. 83 emails in the last 12 months. Now, would you consider that somebody who's putting in the time and energy? Would you consider that somebody who's, if you average that out, that's 1.6 emails a week. 1.6, not even 2 emails a week. Now, I have a hard time believing that if that's the activity you're putting in, that you're telling me that you're doing the work and somehow not getting the results. You don't understand why other people are achieving massive success here. Maybe you're just not good at it. Maybe this just isn't for you. I think that's total BS. And unfortunately, I think people buy into their own BS. And so what I want to ask you is what I asked all of you guys that have come to Omaha the last 2 events, which is if you hired yourself to this position to earn 6 figures a year, and if you knew you got involved in a company and you were not going to make much money because it was all commission based, but if you put the time and energy in a couple of years, you'll be bringing in 6 figures in income. At the bare minimum, 3 years to 4 years of energy putting in to create that kind of income. Now, in Omaha, you guys saw the amount of activity that we produced in 5 hours of productive or income-producing activity time, right? You saw what kind of results we got as a group. The first event out of everyone that was there, over $1 million in income we've already closed. From that first event, we're bumping just under $500,000 in income from the second event in August, and we're going to bump way past. I believe the long-term effect of this is going to be millions of dollars in commission to the ICs that plugged in and did the work. But I'm going to talk to you guys about your numbers, okay? So I went in just to take a snapshot, and I looked at last month. I looked at the month of October. I then looked at last week, and let me share with you the numbers. And I'm going to do this kind of as competition. You can see. Because I want to set a kind of a goal out there for those people who are part of different management structures, a goal to step things up and to be the rock star with an energy network and to take the lead. Now, this is taking into consideration all ICs, taking into consideration those that are spare time, those that are full time, also those that are no time. And we're going to put that all into consideration. So Let me share with you the average amount of emails in the month of October, the average amount of emails per week. Okay. For a whole week, the average for a whole week, this is the average last month, the month of October. And I wanted you to ask yourself where you sit into this. And are you telling me that it's not working for you? Or are you telling me you're not working for it? In other words, are you telling me that this business does not work? And I look at all the people that are achieving massive success, those that are coming to Los Cabos, getting awards. I look at what they're doing and they're simply doing the work, period. So my question is, are you somebody who's complaining and looking for an external situation of why you're not succeeding, why you're not getting what you want out of this business? Or are you someone who's looking at it and saying, well, you know what, I'm just choosing not to work? Okay, so let me do the average. So I'm looking at from the least amount to the most amount, and I'm taking into consideration how many ICs that you have on your team. So we're averaging this all out. Again, those that are spare time, part-time, no time, and full-time. So Dwight Matthews, in the month of October, his team had 3 emails per week average, 3 emails per week. Dennis Martin had 6. Mo Raza, his team had 7 per week. Adrian had 8. Eric Conley had 9. And the tie for the top 2 are Mark Rulo and Rhonda Miller with 11. 11 emails per week is the top in this organization. 11 emails per week, which we average all of this out. We're looking at an average as a company per IC, looking at 32 per month or 8 per week. Now, my question to you is this: would you consider 8 emails a week massive action? I mean, you guys that came to Omaha in April and August sent out 8 emails in the first 15 minutes. So my question is that, are you doing the work? Are you putting in the time? Are you putting in the energy? I mean, that to me is amazing, that I look at the numbers and say, you know what? Anywhere from 3 to 11 emails per week. And that's the range of our organization. And then we wonder why in a year you haven't accomplished what you came here to accomplish. You look at the last 2 years, the last 3 years, and my opinion is this has become habitual for those of you who aren't doing the work. You know, if you went to your job, some of you that are working part-time or spare time, if you went to your job or you look at your past employer and you were sending out in a sales capacity, making phone calls, sending emails out, which are going to make the company money, and they look at your numbers, and they sit there in the Monday board meeting, they sit down and look at your numbers, and you tell them, you know what, I've averaged 8 emails per week. Would they keep having you work there where they tell you, are you kidding me? You should be sending out 8 emails in an hour of productive activity time. And what I'm asking you guys to do to create 6 figures or even 7 figures in the next 3 to 5 years, I'm asking you for 5 hours a week. 5 hours a week. So those that are part of my Millionaire Mastermind, we're not doing it today, as you guys know. That's 1 hour out of your 5. That's 1/5 of your entire work activity for the week if you want to achieve 6 figures or 7 figures. So my question to you again is, are you doing the work, or is the company failing you and somehow the process doesn't work, or that certain people like John Clayton or other superstars that are up and coming, and Mark Rulo, look at what he's doing. You look at what Glenn is doing. You know Glenn Roth. You look at the people that are out there, up and rising stars, and you ask yourself the question: is it them, or is it because they're doing the work? That to me, again, it's a laughing matter. And I know, I'm gonna let's look at some of these numbers here, okay? And I'm gonna commend some of you guys. And also, I'm looking at the percentage of emails versus phone calls. Now, I'm not looking at these numbers in Pipedrive based upon this last week, because I know all of you guys are pushing, because the 15th of December is the delineation of when, if you don't have an account locked in as yours, making forward activity, forward progress, you've got a bill copy or a partner call within 90 days, and or again, forward progress, that's going to go to general population. So you guys are kind of just throwing in, hey, phone call, email, phone call, email. But if I look at the last 90 days, and then I take a snapshot and average this out, and I'm looking at specifically the last week of last month. Let me talk about a few people. So Julie Standing is actually looking at the numbers. And this is Pipedrive, so it's not, again, 100% accurate, because we should be matching this up to those that have Mixmax. But pretty average here as far as I say 60% phone calls, 40% emails. She's sitting right at almost 50-50. Looking at here, Julie, let's see, 128 emails and 139 phone calls. Michelle Oliver, 155 emails. And again, this is last week. I should say 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago and one. So you look at some of you guys are putting in 0. Some of you guys are sending out 8 emails or even 3 emails a week. You got someone like Julie Standing, Michelle Oliver. Michelle, 155 emails, 57 phone calls in a week. You got Chris Riley, 34 emails, 169 phone calls. He's definitely going about 80-20. Mark Swenson, 162 emails, 25 phone calls. Need to be swapped around, Mark. Rod, 134 emails, 33 phone calls. Again, swap those numbers around. Mario, 135 emails, 5 phone calls. Chris Larson, 146 emails, 1 phone call. Look at these numbers. John Clayton works full time. 119 emails and 19 phone calls. Okay? I mean, think about this. Think about this. I want to ask you a question. How many companies that would offer you the ability to earn 6 figures or 7 figures a year in residual income, AKA for the rest of your life, AKA if you pass away, like you've heard about, we've got 3 people now that, tragedy happened, passed away, their families, one is completely taken care of, one is earning about half of what, it's about $50,000 a year, so half of 6 figures, and one's earning a couple $1,000s a month, right? Widows. We're offering you that kind of a vehicle, and yet it's amazing to me to look at the numbers and say, are you kidding me? You're telling me something isn't working. You're coming because you want to get some piece of information. So I'm going to ask you this question. This ties into what we're going to be talking about in Los Cabos. I'm going to ask you this question. The question is, do you now agree with me that it's 20% mechanics, 80% mindset? Let me ask you this question. And I'm going to change, how I've always talked about activity versus productive activity. Well, I need to change that a bit because productive activity actually is researching companies, digging in, learning about them, those type of things. But I want to talk about 2 different categories then. I want to talk about activity versus income producing activity. And there's actually 3 categories. There's activity. Activity is just doing things. Productive activity are things that's going to fuel the process of the income producing activity. You guys follow me? Write this down if you're taking notes. You have activity, productive activity, and income producing activity. So first of all, I would actually be happy right now if I saw some activity. I'd rather have you guys running around in circles, but doing something. Action always, always, always will trump knowledge. Action will trump knowledge. But I'd rather have ignorance on fire than knowledge on ice. But you have activity, productive activity, and income producing activity. Now, activity is doing something. Productive activity is doing things that are going to fuel or give you the foundation to do the income producing activity, like researching into a company, going in and digging in on the subsidiaries and what they're doing and looking at the notes. That's all productive activity. But what is income producing activity? What are the tasks? This is a test for those that can come to Omaha. What are the tasks that we would consider income producing activity? Income producing activity. And because I'm impatient, hopefully you guys are typing as we're speaking. You're about, looks like 15 seconds lag behind me. Exactly, Michelle, thank you. Calling, emailing, following up. So in other words, calling a potential client, following up with a potential client, following up with an email, conference calls. Those are activities that are directly on the edge of the mountain as far as you creating income. Everything else doesn't. Let me answer this question. Does it matter how much activity you're doing? Does it matter how much productive activity you're doing if you're not doing the income producing activity? So in other words, does it matter how much research you're able to do? And I'm telling you, this drives me flipping crazy with some of our producers that fall in love with their deal and dig deeper and deeper and deeper and send me this book of an email as far as this company, here's what they do, and they have this, and they're worth $4 billion, and they've got this facility in Germany, and they got this and this and this. I don't give a shit. My question is, you've got that knowledge, what are you doing with it? And if you are not spending at least 5 hours a week, and that is, in my opinion, spare time. That's not full time at all. That's not, that's not even that's not part-time. It's not spare time. That is basically barely, clocking it, right? That's barely doing anything. But you've got to put in at least 5 hours of the income producing activity where I can measure and say, if you're doing this income producing activity, in 3 to 5 years, you'll be at 6 figures or 7 figures. That's what I know. It's not rocket science. That is the mechanics. So write this down. And if you don't believe me, I'm asking you guys to validate this. How many of you guys know the mechanics of doing this business and feel comfortable with the mechanics, which is I've got an email template. I send that out. I have a phone call. I've got a script. I make those phone calls. I can go on Google. I can search for a company, look at companies like mine that are like those companies. How many of you know the mechanics? And the mechanics is so effing simple. How many of you guys would say you 100% know the mechanics of what to do? And how many of you guys feel that the challenge is getting yourself to follow through, of getting yourself to do it? And all of a sudden the week goes by, you feel guilty, you're just not making it happen. How many of you guys feel that you're that way when you know 100% or 95% or even 90%, you know the mechanics of this? You've got a script, you make a phone call, you learn from it, you send an email out, you follow up, you learn from it, and you do a conference call, you move forward, you bring more in. How many of you guys feel comfortable? We spent 2.5 days in Omaha with it, and you spent 5 hours of time doing that, of income producing activity. How many of you guys will say that you know the mechanics of building this to 6 figures or 7 figures? Okay, so I will tell you what's holding you back. What's holding you back is your mind. It's mindset, 80%, mechanics, 20%. Write this down, get it stuck in. 80% mindset, 20% mechanics. So this event in Los Cabos, that full, 5 days together, that's going to be spent on top of above and beyond enjoying. We're going to be anchoring the enjoyment part of it to what your life could be like if you pay the price and do the mechanics. But we're going to be spending so much time on the mindset, the 80%, that full day out of a 14-hour day with me. We're going to spend about 4 hours on mechanic stuff with our partners. The rest is all the mindset. So what I've done, because I want everyone to benefit, we obviously can't do the whole thing, it wouldn't work, but I want everyone to benefit from the stage being set of getting yourself to take action, the mindset piece of this. And so I've got scheduled for the event. We start the event at 8:30, kind of get the preamble set up at 10 o'clock Pacific time, so noon Eastern time. Sorry, yeah, 10. Yeah, that'd be because they're considered Mountain Time. So noon Eastern time on the 5th, which is a Wednesday, at 10, which is 9 Pacific, 10 Mountain, 11 Central, 12 Eastern, for 3 hours. We're going to be spending time getting you guys to understand and get in the proper mindset. Because what we're missing here is this. When you guys came to Omaha, what you got is strategy. Okay. Once you write down these 3 S's, this is what we're going to start with in Los Cabos. You got the strategy. The strategy you've got down. But what you don't have and don't know how to control yet, because you're not controlling your mind, is you don't have the story that you're telling about who you are, the story about what you're doing. You don't have the story, and you also don't have you're not able to get yourself in the proper state. If you have yourself in the proper state, you will find a way. You will find either you'll grab a hold of the mechanics of it, you'll grab a hold of the strategy, or you'll create a strategy if you're in the right state. I'm going to show you how to get there immediately, this quick, whenever you need to be in the proper state, create your story, and then that's going to allow you to plug in and do the strategy. Okay, so we're going to spend 3 hours together, intense 3 hours of how to make this happen. So those that are there, obviously going to participate in that, be a part of it. Those that are not able to attend the event in Los Cabos, you have the ability to join us in virtual reality. So if you have the virtual reality glasses, you can use them, or you can look on your phone to scroll around your phone to 360 in the room, or you can watch on your computer or your television. If you have YouTube on your television, you're able to watch this in virtual reality, 360 degrees at the event. That's going to be from noon until 3 Eastern time, on the 5th. So you'll want to move your schedule around, ask for some time off if you need to, call in sick, whatever. But it's from noon until 3 Eastern time, and it's going to cost you $100 to participate. And that covers the cost and the extra cost of putting this whole thing together for you guys. But additionally, you have to realize those that are coming to Los Cabos are spending, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to be there. So you're spending $100 for that 3 hour push of getting the mindset correct. Now, if you don't have the virtual reality glasses, you just pay shipping and handling. We'll send you out a pair for free. You just pay shipping and handling. I think it's like 17 bucks or something on the site. Now, if you want to register, I encourage you to register now because because of bandwidth that we have there, we're going to limit it to 100 people, okay, that want to participate. And so to do that, simply type in a URL in your browser, topgun.energynetwork.net. Again, topgun.energynetwork.net to register. Now, those that are going to the event, don't worry about it. You're going to have access to all of the content from the whole day. You're going to have access to that afterwards. We're recording it, okay? So you're fine. But anyone that is not able to attend, this is a way for you to participate and plug in. We're also just going to do some fun things like we're broadcasting live on Periscope, the welcome reception, some of that. We're going to be broadcasting live some of the awards night as well. So you're going to be able to plug in, be a part of it. But this is going to be the full immersion, 360 degrees for 3 solid hours of working with you on getting you've got to get the strategy. You've got to get the story and the state correct. And if you're going to move forward, that's the 80% of mindset versus the 20% of mechanics you already know. Okay. So hope you're excited about that. We just set this up because, again, we've had a ton of you guys have asked us, and a couple people that couldn't go last minute asked if they could participate in some way. So we're condensing it. Understand, I'm condensing literally 2.5 days worth of content into 14 hours. And this is one of the most important critical elements of the event, is laying the foundation correctly for getting yourself to understand how to get the story correctly and to get yourself in peak state whenever you need to in order to perform and actually utilize a strategy. I'm telling you, that's what's missing. If you don't believe me, again, you guys are typing in the chat window. You're telling me that you know what to do. What you're telling me is you're having trouble taking action. Okay? But I will tell you one thing, and looking at the numbers, I will tell you what's missing right now is you're not doing the work, period. And I'm encouraging you, and I understand some of you guys are going to be out of pocket again on Thursday, and some of you are going to make the excuse. This is a holiday weekend. People aren't going to answer their emails, answer their phone calls. I'm telling you, you're buying into bullshit, because other people will come into this week and have 2 partner calls scheduled for next week, or will close a big deal. I see it happening every single week. So you have those that make excuses and those that actually do. So you should be getting that done. You've got those that are part of Millionaire Mastermind. You've got a full hour out of your 5. So you got 4 hours left this week to do your 5 hours bare minimum productive activity time. All right, let's go ahead and type any questions or comments in the chat window. The website again, Rachel or Bree or Caleb, type in there. You can't type the whole URL, so put a space in there. But it's topgun.energynetwork.net. Don't put a www, just put topgun.energynetwork.net. Again, topgun.energynetwork.net. You're right, Sandy. This is a busy time for a lot of customers, but I will also tell you this is where their mindset, especially when you send emails out, you set things in motion. Now's the time to gain market share. That first of the year, you hit the ground running. You have tons of companies who also have a budget to work on for next year, but they also have a budget to complete for this year. This is the time to get out there and gain market share. I'm telling you right now, if you don't believe me, ask the top producers. You will hear from John Weems, who has told you guys how many times that the first year he made a true move forward is he set up several hundred emails to go out. So when he was spending time the last, after Christmas and then between that and New Year's, he set out, I think on the 5th of January is when he started it, but had several hundred emails ready to go out that started kicking in and making momentum happen January of that year. So again, I'll ask you again, is this business not working, or are you not working this business? Is this business not working, or are you not working this business? I would rather have you tell me you're lazy, or you have your mindset's not right. You can't get yourself to take action. We can work with that. But don't come in with the bullshit excuses to say, hey, this business isn't working for me like it is with other people. And I look at your numbers, you've sent 1.6 emails per week for the last year. Come on, guys. I'm telling you right now, I would quit this business if that was me. I would quit it. I don't understand why anybody likes. See, we have this illusion that slow and steady is going to make it. You don't get momentum. You don't get the massive action. You don't get good at it unless you have full immersion into it. I'm telling you right now, I don't care if it's a 5 hour, that's all you're putting in. Chunk that if you can. Put in 2.5 hours here, 2.5 hours there, whatever. Chunk that time, laser focus it, and get it done. And you have the choice of taking off from this week all the way till end of the year, like a lot of people do, and they mentally check out. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know the statistics, but most people, you look at the average person in a full day, puts in 4.5 hours out of their 8-hour day. Most people, the rest of the time they're doing social media on their own, doing all kinds of fluffy stuff, walking around getting coffee, pretending like they're busy. Over the holidays, it's around 2 out of 8 hours. 2 out of 8 hours people check out. Decide if your future is worth it. Decide if your legacy is worth it. Decide if you're going to buy the excuses or if you're going to step out and say, here's what I'm doing. I've got to step things up and move to the next level. Okay, so last thing again, topgun.energynetwork.net. If you're not going, first 100 people. If you don't have the virtual reality glasses, send an email to Bree. It's in that in the website. Send an email to Bree, and she'll send you a free pair of virtual reality glasses. You pay for shipping and handling, and that's it. Okay. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Talk soon. Have a phenomenal week. Talk to you guys next Monday, and let's rock and roll. Happy Thanksgiving. Those in California, our thoughts and prayers are with you. I know it cannot be fun, but we're thinking about you. We're a part of your family. So I hope you let us know if you need anything at all or any way that we can help you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Talk soon. Bye-bye.